All right, ladies, let's talk a little bit about objects. So, something that I say kind of frequently is how do we store information in JavaScript? And generally, what I'm referring to is an array. We saw that with rock, paper, scissors, where we had a computer choice of R, P, or S that we then used math to pick one of. But we don't always just have one property of information that we're saving. So in this case, it's just the R, P, or S. There's nothing more or less to it. If we wanted to, we could write a simple for loop to loop through that information. And over on our left here, I've built out a simple HTML page. So let's just append this to the page. Append. And we're going to give it a break so that it's really easy to see. And my class is called array over here. So if I come over here, we can see our PNS. Now we have cases where we have multiple pieces of information. So I built out a little object here, and it's just a simple array of objects. So I did this for wines. So wines have a name. They've got a year, color, region, and flavor notes. And I want to, let's write a loop through this wines array. So let's let name equal wine I.name. Let year equal wines I.year. And just a heads up, I think Sarah has mentioned this, but let is ES6 syntax. It works very similar to var. Don't worry if you are using var, we'll get more into ES6 syntax in a couple months. Let's append these to our page. So if I wanted to append these over here, let's look at our HTML here. My class is called objects. So let's write a little jQuery to add to objects. And we're going to append. And let's write a little sentence. So let's do the name of the wine is a color from the region, and it was produced in, so the name is a white from France, produced in year, and let's also add a break here so that it's easier to read. And now if I come over here and I refresh, we have all of our wines, their type, everything's great here. But what about this here? I've got this unordered list of wine notes. And you'll notice in our array of objects, we also have a key value pair where the value is an array. So how would we want to loop through that? This is a case where we're going to have a loop inside a loop. So if I do a for and we do wines again, that's great. That'll get us to wines, but how do I get to flavor notes? Well, here we're going to have another loop, and we're going to, instead of it being var I, we'll have var j is equal to 0. J is less than flavor notes, because that's the length in there. Flavor notes dot length, but I need to define what flavor notes are, so let's let flavor notes equal wines I dot flavor notes, and we want to do an j plus plus. Remember to use j every time we're referring to flavor notes here. If we use I, it gets very confused with the first for loops. So let's look back to our HTML here. The class on this unordered list is wine notes. So let's make a variable for these flavor notes. So let note equal wines I dot flavor notes j, and then let's switch this up. So let's let list item equal, we're going to cut this here, and we just want this to be equal to a list item. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we're going to say, hey, go to that class of wine notes, and then we're going to do dot text here of that thing I cut, and then we're going to append that list item. So now I'm missing a set of curly brackets here, and let's just work on our indentation just a little bit so this is easier to read. So you can see this is closing out this for loop, and this is closing out this for loop. And if I refresh my page here, you can see we have a list of all of the array items that are inside of our array of objects. So we have a list inside of a list. Because everything was named the same, we could target all of them together and get this nice list of all the different notes you might find in these 3 white wines. So if you have any questions, let me know. I hope this clears up a little bit about arrays of objects and then how to do a loop within a loop. Loops within loops can get very muddy, but there are times where you may need them, and it is really helpful to understand how they work. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a message, and I hope this helps.